Welcome back, troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. Today we have a 2006 Gibson Les Paul Goddess. The Les Paul Goddess came in 5 finishes. There's the Purple Burst, the Sky Burst, the Rose Burst, the Black, and this one, the Iceburst. I've had the Iceburst, a few of the Purple Bursts, as well as a Sky Burst on my channel. I still need to find a black one to review, as well as the Rose Burst. So if you know of a Rose Burst for sale, I'm highly motivated to get one of those, but I'm not as big of a fan of the black one. This model is incredibly fascinating to me. When I first found that these existed, I instantly fell in love with them, as did many other collectors. These guitars were not really popular when they first came out. They actually kind of had to discontinue them and sell them really cheaply, some of the finishes anyways, at the end of their run. So they were made in 2006 and 2007. Nobody liked them then, but then they became collector's items, and prices have been going up, and I think I'm partially responsible for that, but I hope I'm really showing just what these guitars are capable of. All of them are gorgeous. Now, if you go back to some of my Purple Burst videos, or maybe the Sky Burst one, I'm sure I've talked down on the Iceburst finish, because the thing about Les Paul Goddesses is their Gibson logos are colored. Now, the Iceburst and the black one did not get special colored logos because, well, the natural clear just happens to match the finish. So I'm sure I've talked down on that, so it is sad that you don't have the colored Gibson logo. But what's kind of unique about this Iceburst one is the coils are wound with a blue wire. Another reason why I've talked down about this finish before is because I just felt the white wasn't really all that special. But what I did not know when I was dissing this guitar is that this one has a natural back. And I'm a huge fan of this. I mean, you can see you've got some really cool figuring in this piece right there. But I really dig this natural color contrasting with the white top. Now, the finish of this is kind of a stark white burst teardrop shape in the middle. And then you kind of have this cream color. You know how Les Paul Customs age over the years? It'll turn that kind of creamy color. That's what you have on the edges. It contrasts really nicely with the stark white plastics on this thing. These aren't your typical creamed plastics, they are stark white. Same thing with the switch tip and the poker chip there. But what really sets this guitar off is this side profile view, because once again you have this really white binding, so I think it really gives it an exotic look. You're going to notice that this is a wraparound styled guitar, which means you don't have your traditional bridge and tailpiece, so it's not quite as complex to set up. Your intonation isn't going to be as perfect as with an adjustable bridge, but it's just a very sleek look. You also only have a master volume and a master tone to further slim things down. Speaking of slimming, the body is actually a 1/4 inch thinner than a regular Les Paul. It has a mahogany body. In this case, it's a 3-piece mahogany body with a 1-piece mahogany neck with locking Grover tuners. Lastly, the claim to fame of these Les Paul Goddess are their ebony fretboards. The pickups are 490R, 498T, but again, they are wound with special colored wiring. Overall, I would highly suggest checking out one of these Les Paul Goddesses if you ever get the chance. Yes, they were originally marketed towards women, but these are really great guitars. They have awesome ebony fretboards, which you can't find anymore. You have a very simple control layout, just master volume, master tone, wraparound tailpiece. It kind of gives you a different feel for the guitar. So it's definitely worth having one of these in your collection if you can pick one up at a decent price. This Les Paul Goddess weighs 7 pounds 4 ounces and features a 60s styled neck. Now that we've learned a little bit about the specs of this guitar, let's hear how she sounds. Our clean tones come from a Gibson Super Gold Tone GA30 RV. Our dirty tones come from a Marshall JMP 1C. Now that we've heard how this guitar sounds, let's go over its condition as well as just a few of its intricacies. If you're not interested in learning more about this guitar, this is the rest of the video, so feel free to switch to another video if you'd like to learn the history of another guitar. Alright, this Les Paul Goddess is actually in pretty good shape. The face of the headstock we do have a little bit to go over, but not a lot. You can see right here, there is a little bit of an impression, a ding or a scratch. Got a little bit that on the outside, but overall it's fairly clean, just light string change wear. The truss rod cover does read Goddess. There was also a baby version of this guitar called the Vixen. The tuners on here are the top locking Grover tuners. I'm not a huge fan of these tuners. If you wanted to replace them with the kind that locked in the back, I would actually suggest it. I'm just not a huge fan of these because they stick up farther than a regular Grover tuner. Just a little bit, and it just kind of looks a little off-putting. You also kind of have to learn how to restring these in a slightly different way. So, do they work? Yes, but I'm just not a huge fan. That's my own personal preference. Once again, the ebony fretboard on these are just amazing. It's nice that you can still get an ebony fretboard on a guitar like this. I believe it's around 2011 when they stopped being able to use ebony and switched to Richlight. The frets on this girl are in great shape, just very, very minor wear and tear. You have nice stark white inlays. Overall, the body is fairly clean, but you do have a little bit of finish checking going on that I'll try to show off here. But just light wear and tear on this one. I don't think it was ever really heavily played. Here, shining the light on it. Now the first area that we kind of need to discuss is by the control knobs. I'm not sure if that's showing up, but there is a little bit of light checking stemming from there. Nothing wrong with the guitar. It probably just got cold at some point in time and cracked the finish a little bit. You also have some of that kind of right here by the pickup ring there. So you've got some finish checking on multiple locations on this guitar, but it's nothing that really takes away from the overall look. I know sometimes you can get some checking that like runs all the way across the top, and when it's on a brand new guitar and it's just one or two, I think it looks kind of trashy, but you just have the very minor stemming on this one. Again, everything's stock on this guitar. You have the specially colored wired pickups that are original to this guitar. Now the knobs are kind of interesting. I believe this is the first time Gibson used a knob like this. They now use a similar knob to these on the high performance models that they make yet today. Move on to the back of the headstock. The only thing really majorly cosmetically wrong with this guitar is right here. It looks like a huge impression. Really, when you feel it in person, it is just kind of an impression. What I'm guessing that is somebody left one of those clip-on tuners or a capo on it for a while, and then just kind of impressed into it. Now luckily, you don't have like a large impression on the face of the headstock, but it is there on the back of the guitar. It looks a lot worse in photos than it actually does in real life though. The rest of it is actually pretty clean. You do have a little bit of finish checking kind of stemming along here. It's nearly impossible to see on the natural finish, but it is there, but nothing to worry about. Now, when I was buying this guitar, this concerned me a little bit. I was pretty sure it was just kind of a knot in the wood grain, and it is, but it's kind of in a inopportune area. But that is just part of the wood grain. You actually have quite a bit of that nice knottiness in this guitar. You have like a mineral streak right here as well. mean, it really adds a lot of character to this guitar, especially there. This is a slim 60s profile. Once again, this was marketed towards women. Most women have smaller hands, so that's why they went with kind of a smaller neck profile. The back of the guitar here, again, it's a 3-piece mahogany back. I love this strip right here. Look at that figuring to it. It's beautiful. That's kind of what made me fall for this example. Overall, there's not too much wear on the back, I wouldn't say. I mean, maybe a few stray buckle marks, but even here with all the lights on it, you can see just very light wear and tear. We'll take a close-up real quick. Stock Gibson pots, stock Gibson pickups, all the parts, everything as it should be. I really do think these are future high-end collectibles. Not because they were expensive when they were brand new, but just because of the unique finishes that these are. We'll take a look at the sides of the guitar. You do have some very minor wear that will go over here. But everything so far that we've seen is pretty clean. You have a metal input jack here, so you don't have to worry about that cracking. There is a little bit of a knot in the wood there again. And a small ding. That's probably the worst dings on the side. It's just right there. Probably came from a strap. We'll continue along the side here. And once again, beautiful figuring to the wood. You can see it right there moving. I kind of feel bad dissing on this Iceburst finish before I had one. It's just, this finish never really called to me in photos. But now that I've had one in real life and realized that the back is this beautiful natural mahogany color, this is one of my favorites. I wish they would have left the back natural on almost all of these. So yes, you don't have the colored logo like the fancy purples or the rose burst or the blue burst, but what you do have is a beautiful natural creamy guitar with an awesome natural back. The blacklight demo of this one, there's not much to really show. You can see it's slightly black lights, but not a lot, because I'm guessing this one's been a case queen most of its life. It hasn't been exposed to the sun too much, so it won't glow all that much. But here it really shows off how white these pickup rings are, because they fluoresce so much under blacklight here. But you can see there's no touch-ups or repairs or anything like that. Again, you just have some light finish checking on the front, but no cracks into the wood. Back of the headstock here, once again, you can see that impression at the top of the headstock. And you can see that knot underneath the finish in the wood grain. But like, no finish is worn off the neck or anything. This really is a nice clean example if you can live past this impression mark up here. Back of the guitar isn't all chewed up or anything either. You pretty much just have that small ding down here. But overall, everything looks good on the blacklight check. This Les Paul Goddess comes in a Gibson USA case. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th back latch. And that includes one of these as a locking latch here. Now this guitar is in pretty good shape. It has a dark gray interior. You've got a little bit of heel support and a double neck rest, so everything's good on this one. The fit of this case is pretty good side to side, but up and down, that's kind of inexcusable, I think. That's why I don't believe this is the 100% original case to this guitar. Thank you, Troglodytes, for watching today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.